Yo, what's the word, chat? It's your boy being back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over a mixing technique used by a lot of engineers known as the Pultec technique, where it's basically where you're boosting and cutting the same frequencies for low end to get a clean, spacious, but punchy low end with nice analog saturated sound. And using this method, we're going to be using the Pulse Techniques EQP-1A, or the Pultec is better known as. For a little history and background on this EQ, Pultec EQ is a legendary hardware equalizer originally developed in the 1950s by Pulse Techniques, hence the name Pultec. Famous for its warm analog sound and musical broad-stroke EQ curves, it uses passive filters to shape the tone and tube amplifiers to restore signal gain. It has very, very steep shelf cuts and shelf curves, which you're going to look at on the analyzer later into the video. So yeah, this is basically the technique that I'm going to be showing you guys. Just a good way to get punchy and clean, non-muddy low end very easily, very simply, with this very famous technique that's been used for pretty much 70 years. So yeah, let's just get into it and let's see. So I'm going to be using the Waves PuigTec EQ plugin for this tutorial. This is the plugin right here. You could take a look. So as you can see, we have different frequencies right here, different bands, different knobs, CPS right here, standing for cycles per second, or your frequency ranges, your bands. Obviously, this is an old EQ, so they used to call frequency cycles, technically as cycles, which I'm not going to get too deep into the science of it, but just know the CPS stands for cycles per second. So you can either have the low end at 20, 30, 60, or 100, and then you have a high where you can go to 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, and 16K. And then this is your bandwidth. Keep in mind the bandwidth only affects the width of the high frequencies on this EQ, not the low. It's in the manual. Next is the low pass bands, as you can see right here. I'm sorry, not low pass bands, just the low bands right here. You could boost and cut, which is a 10 or attenuate. So yeah, so let's play our beat so we can hear, and we're going to be running this technique on 808 kick, and then we're gonna do it with them both mixed together, and then we're gonna do a final one where we're boosting them together, and then see what it's doing, see what's going on, and just hear how it sounds. Since this is gonna be based on low end, I suggest you wear headphones or use good speakers so you could really hear and feel what's going on. But yeah, let's just get started. So before we get into the technique, let's just listen to the beat. So yeah, that's the beat that we got. So let's just listen to the 808. And let's pull out the EQ and let's just boost so you can hear it. And now let's listen to the cut. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to boost it at 100 hertz and we're going to cut it at 100 hertz at the same level. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take it and you're gonna choose your frequency range. Whichever one works for best for you on the sound that you're using is gonna work better for different sounds, of course. But for this 808 specifically, I like the sound at 30 hertz. So we're gonna go with 30, and then we're gonna boost. And you want to boost anywhere between 2 to 5 dB using this technique. It depends on how much low end your sound already has to begin with. This sound already has a lot of low end to begin with, so we're only going to boost it about 3 dB and then cut it at 3, and we're going to see what it sounds like. Now without it, and now with it. Without it, one more time. Now going in. Now let's just change the frequencies, the cycles per second, and see what it sounds like at the different ranges. Now let's do it a little more drastically so you can really hear. Now let's just bring the gain down because it's a little too loud. Now let's view what this is actually doing on the EQ curve. So as you can see here, if we bring up the Pultec, and I'll just play with the curves and see what's going on. So as you can see, I'm going to bring this down. So as the more I attenuate it, we're actually kind of cutting off a slope going from around 2 kilohertz going all the way down to around 264, around there. And if we move the frequency around on the cycles, you can see it's actually affecting different ranges with the curve. And now if we go back to the boost, as you can see, we're boosting way beyond 100 hertz. We have the main boost at 100 hertz itself, but we have a whole low shelf going until basically almost 1.3 kilohertz, which is a lot. It seems like it can do a lot to your mix, but it's actually helping your low end a lot because these two curves are creating space for each other since you're boosting and you're cutting at the same time. And then if you look at the curve, we just have a more healthy signal. So next, let's look at it on a kick. Let's hear what the kick is doing. So as you can hear, it kind of just gives it more grittiness to the kick, kind of just makes it feel a little more punchy, kind of just slap a little more. Now, we're just going to boost at different and see what's going on. So we're going to have the kick at 60 and have it at 100 and 5.5 and then boom, and then we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna bring it to 60, and then we're gonna boost this by 5, and cut this by 5, and then make sure that's good. And then we're just gonna play it together first without the EQs in effect. Let me turn these off. First the EQs out of effect, so we could just listen to what they sound together. All right, now we're just gonna enable the plugin on both of them and see how it sounds together now. So yeah, in my personal opinion, I think that both sounds, the kick and the 808, have a little bit more punch in the low end, but they also sound a little bit cleaner together. They kind of have more space built out for each other for them to punch through and to mix together and work together cohesively, which I feel like is something a lot of engineers and producers struggle with when mixing low end. But this is a good low end mixing technique right here, and we'll get your low end smacking and get it clean. So let's just look at it on the EQ real quick, not on the curve analyzer, but the EQ, and just see what's going on. So as you can see, we're kind of getting a bigger bump around here with the signal, and our mid-range is kind of spiraling down as we get further down, but obviously that's because this is low end. However, as you can see, we still have spikes going up and peaks within these ranges, which is kind of showing how the curves are working together. So yeah, now we're just going to boost these together and see what it sounds like if we were to, in theory, boost these together. It just makes everything in the mix have more space. As you can notice with the melodies and the snares, are kind of coming out more in the mix, but so is the low end at the same time, and it's kind of clearing out more of that mid-range, but also giving the low end presence at the same time, which I think honestly just makes it such a nice, clean, smooth, and easy technique to use in your mixes, especially with low end, which is something that people struggle with a lot. But yeah, this is basically the technique, and that's all I got for y'all guys today. Thank you for the support that y'all been showing on the videos, everything, all the love. I appreciate it a lot, and I just hope that all of y'all have a great day. Feel me? Keep liking, supporting the videos, doing what y'all do. It means the world to me, and I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what type of things you want me to do next on this channel, and I'm gonna get it done for y'all. But yeah, this is basically the end of the video. This is the Pultec technique. Any questions you got, just let me know. Hit me up. And yeah, that's about it. Safety, y'all.